Next up, replicate. So if you want to rotate copies and just create more copies and more copies of your image, and I don't know why I started at the bottom, you can also mirror that image, mirror it up, mirror it down, mirror it to the left, mirror it to the right if you want to fill your entire page. If you want to duplicate or replicate twice, I guess duplicate is one time and replicate is multiple. So they're using the English language in exact terms. So if I want to replicate my image twice to the right, I can hit this and I'm going to get 2 more to the right. If I want it one time, duplicated one time to the left, then I click that and it's going to duplicate it to the left. If I choose my image and I want multiple copies, I can update it here. I tell it if I want the copy to go to the left, to the right, or up or down. So I want it to go down. And I can tell it exactly the number of degrees if I want to rotate that copy. I click replicate and it replicates that number of copies. Okay, now I want to go back to my transform menu and I want to turn my show shear handles off. So I'm going to have a couple menus open, and here I can close both of them, or not close, collapse both of them. I can uncollapse both of them. I can only collapse replicate or just collapse transform. The menu system is very, very cool. I do like all that they've allowed you to do with that. This is objects on a path, and again, it sounds a little too sophisticated for me. If I designed more complicated items in here, I might know what that is, and at some point I may learn it, but right now I'm not sure what this is. Okay, I'm doing a test. I'm going to just move it a little bit to the left, and I'm going to open. Now see, it thinks that my transform panel is still open, I think. I'm going to open the modify. So if you move it ever so slightly to the left, if your menu is not in this upper right hand corner of the grid on your screen, when you open a new menu, it's going to keep both of them. I'm going to get rid of this replicate menu right now. This is your modify menu, and these I think used to be one on top of the other, but they're still the same types of functions. So you have weld, subtract all, divide, crop, intersect, and subtract. And if you leave your cursor or your mouse over the particular function, it will tell you, use the frontmost shape to cut a hole. It gives you a definition of what that function will do. Then you've got your compound paths. You either make or release a compound path, and here you can detach lines. And it's really cool because if you just hover over your function, it gives you the definition. Let's see, I don't know if it does that with other menus. Yeah, I don't see any other definitions coming up, but I do know the modify window, it's very confusing to me as to what the difference between intersect and subtract is. So I do like having a definition available. The offset panel, the icon has changed. It is now a star, which I like much better than the previous icon. You have offset and internal offset. So if I do my internal offset, it's going to default. I believe this is the same default that it was previously. If I change that, I can change it by using the slider or typing in, and I hit enter. It defaults to the rounded corner, which I think it did before, and I want the sharp corner. Here is an example of my offset, and I'm going to click apply. And if I want to do an internal offset again, still going to default, although it leaves my corner there. Oh, that is one ugly heart. Huh. Okay. That heart looks kind of bad. It's a little wonky. I guess I was trying to make it too small. Look at that. That thing is kind of ugly. Okay. And then offset works the same way. If I want a 0.6 offset, and it's making that one wonky too. I messed up that heart somehow. Click apply, and there you've got your external offset. Okie dokie. Next up is your stipple menu. And you have to have, if you hover over the stipple menu icon, it says that it requires a Silhouette Cameo 3 or a Silhouette Curio. I do not have a Curio or a Cameo 3 yet, so I won't be stippling anytime soon, but there's your menu. And this is your emboss and deboss, and if you notice, it specifically says requires a Silhouette Curio. Then below that, that's very strange because before my nesting was within this arrow. Very interesting. Okay, this is my nesting. This is probably a business edition feature, but allows you to have multiple images. You can say have a little bit of padding. Maybe I just want one. Rotations, I'll allow as many rotations as you want, and you nest, and sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. This is kind of a messy mat, so I can't expect that it would be able to figure out how to make this cut most efficiently. Below, and I didn't even notice this little arrow before when I was doing my written documentation for this presentation. There's a little gray arrow, and it's not normally highlighted. It only becomes highlighted when you hover over it, and it says nothing. And the one above it does say open the nesting panel. This has the sketch panel, which I do not use. This has your rhinestone panel. It has your layers panel.